All right, y'all, it's your boy Brendan. We're going to talk sales in the month of February. So I spent in cost of goods $1,230 total dollars, but what did that get me in sales? We'll go over gross numbers, we'll go over net numbers, we will talk everything else in between, and then I'm going to show you 20 of the most exciting items that I sold this month. Stay tuned. All right, 9,000 for all of February in gross, and then just under 6 in net. Selling cost 28.8. What it looks like to me, even with the extra day, is I sold more than I did last year in total quantity, but if you look at my average sales price, it's down 20%. And it felt like I wasn't selling more of my big ticket items in February. So it's not necessarily that I was slower from a volume perspective. It was just I couldn't sell the big ticket stuff to save my life. At least that's what it felt like. And so this kind of corroborates my thoughts. So overall, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I'm using other months as a comparison, and I feel like the last few Februarys have just been slow for me, especially coming off of the last 3 months that which I did phenomenally well. If you're measuring how to compare that to how I did last year, so just a little bit of and it felt slower. So if you were slower and you're not anywhere near these numbers, for me, it's just my sample size is always very small. I'm only carrying around 2,000 listings. So if you're in the 500 listing range and your inventory isn't diverse, I'm always sort of hesitant to use well, it's economic circumstances that are making things slow. It's an election year, so people are buying less. I don't typically buy those reactions or those excuses because I feel like our sample sizes are a little bit too small. If you've got 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 listings, then maybe it makes more sense to use that if you are in fact slow. So for me, like it was just I couldn't sell the expensive stuff in February. But if there was something expensive that I did sell, I'm going to feature it in these next 20 items. So let's kick it off with an Adidas Columbus Crew jersey. I've said this recently in a video. I'm starting to source soccer more. Soccer is the biggest sport in the world, save the United States, right? We're the NFL, Major League Baseball, but soccer is enormous, and the Crew does phenomenally well down here. I think it's the Browns ownership that purchased the Crew. They were considering moving the Columbus Crew out of the area, I think into the state of Texas, but they're here now, and it seems like they've had some pretty good years. I don't follow them as much, but I am going to commit to buying more soccer because I'm starting to see success sales-wise selling soccer-related items, especially the jerseys from Nike and Adidas. So this was a great one. It only cost me $5. I sold it for $50, and it only took 8 days to sell. So I can't even tell you when MLS soccer season is. I know that's terrible, but I didn't play soccer. I didn't come up. I was football, basketball, and baseball when I played sports. So, and I ran a couple events in track. So at any rate, if you are not sourcing soccer jerseys, look at them a little bit more because I'm still in the this is surprising me mode, and yeah, I'm selling them. So this was a pretty good example. Columbus Crew. I am from the Columbus area here, so that was a great sale. Next thing here, Bath & Body Works Cherry Blossom. I did source this in one of my thrift run videos, so you folks did see it. I forget what I paid. I think it was $4 for this Cherry Blossom, brand new. Don't sell pre-owned sprays if it's not anything other than brand new. I think you need to avoid eBay when it comes to sprays like this. So brand new only, maybe new open box. I don't even know if that is a choice that they give you now, but this was Cherry Blossom Mist, 8 ounces, amazing. Sold it for $45. I think it was $4 that it cost me, and this only took 2 weeks to sell as well. So discontinued, out of production, no longer being produced sprays, candles always seem to do well. I can't say always, but there's a lot of them that, once it becomes very difficult to find them, the price goes up. So $45 for this, where it probably cost maybe $19.99 in stores. So if you're not sourcing or at least looking up the sprays, the mists, the brand new candles, you're going to be surprised when you start finding some really expensive ones. So this is a pretty good example of one that I got great money for. Next thing here, not a huge, is this a women's cardigan? Yeah, so long line, chunky. I forget where I got these keywords. I think maybe I had seen similar sold listings on Poshmark. Maybe there were some on eBay as well, but this was a good find for me because it is me tapping into territory that I'm not comfortable with automatically. So I'm pretty proud of myself for sourcing this. I think I got this. I don't remember exactly where this came from. This might have come from the bins, and if it did, it was still kind of heavy. So it's going to be $5 whether I got it at the bins or I got it in store, because the store price would have been $5 as well. But Alex Mill cardigan in great shape, and I had it listed for 70. I sold it for 60. So 60, paid 5, and it took about 5 months to sell. So I thought my pictures were adequate. I'll take you through some of them just to show you a little bit closer. I try to keep things very, very simple. I lay most things flat on my deck, and this was a nice overcast day, so it showed up really, really well. I don't have to worry about shadows per se because of the time that I was shooting these pictures, but kept it simple and sold it for $60. So I'm pretty proud of myself because, you know, women's items in general, just not my cup of tea. So next thing here, Isle of Wight glass. This is another territory where I'm like trying to dip my toes, and I don't know a ton about what it is I'm looking up half the time. There were no exact comparables, but it did look like these like fragrance bottles, whatever you want to call them, from this brand in a bunch of varying shapes and sizes seemed to sell really well. It looks like I had a unique sort of like iridescent pattern on this one here, and I got an offer very quickly. And because again I was in another slow month, I had it listed for 75. I was shooting for the stars, but I did take an offer of $55 on this. I don't remember what I paid, maybe around $6-7, could have been less than that, but I will take the $55 because it sold so fast. So it only took 4 days to sell, but keep your eye out for it. I think maybe the fact that it still had the sticker on it helped me, but again, I'm not a glass expert, so if I've got one in the comments, chime in on if the sticker helps keep the price high or if it really doesn't matter. I'm not really sure. I'm assuming it did, but what do I know? I'll take the $55 though. 4 days, great sale. Next thing here, again, another one of my favorite brands, LL Bean. And it's my favorite because I feel like it's not in favor in the back of the house, if you will, like for people that are pricing and trying to mark up certain brands. And, you know, this one we can let slip through. This one we're going to mark up because we know it's popular. Like LL Bean is one of the ones that sort of gets through, if you will, more often than it doesn't. And so this was just a regular price. You know, I think the luggage bag price is $5.99, so I paid $6 for this. I had this listed for 60 and I sold it for 51. So somebody got an offer or either sent me an offer, but I will take $51 in February for this bag. Nice tan canvas bag. This, by the way, is still currently sold under the model number you see in the title on LL Bean's website in 2 other colors, but this color had been sold out. So I did do that research beforehand. I don't know if that helped me or not, but I had a tan color. They may have had black or navy blue as the only other 2 options on their website. And I can't remember. I think the bag price MSRP is $120 if I remember correctly. So I thought pricing it at 60 was fair, and somebody paid 51. So good sale there. Only took 4 days for this one to sell as well. Look all of the LL Bean up if you don't know anything else, or if you're in an area that is really stingy with all of their brands. I feel like this is like one of the sleeper winners, even though LL Bean is no secret to anybody. I feel like there's a lot of value in this brand that most people just seem to pass up or look over. So next one here, I don't know what this is. It was a massager and the thing was like 30 pounds. I couldn't believe how heavy it was, but it's just one of those old vintage personal massagers. Genie Rub. Here's some of the pictures. I'll take you through it. Just plugged it in, made sure it was running properly. It was very clean, probably got minimal use. Even the exterior leather was looking really good. Handles were in great shape, and this one sold really fast, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this only took a day to sell. Look these comparables up. I have model number 3401-0. Go into the sold comparables. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of these that sell, and I can't tell you why that is. So if anyone wants to chime in and help me out, go for it. But the sold data was enough for me to take the plunge. So I paid $10 for this, and I sold it for 60. I had it listed for 80, I sold it for 60, and it sold in 1 day. So a very fast seller. I don't know anything about it other than scanned the UPC code and saw a bunch of solds and ran with it. So if you see it, do the same. Next thing here, I talk about LL Bean a lot as a very good sleeper brand for the reasons I've already discussed. And the same goes with Eddie Bauer. This is an AKA Eddie Bauer leather coat. What I noticed was it looked like Eddie Bauer leather coats in general were priced higher without the AK. I don't know what the AKA relevance is to Eddie Bauer leather, but it looked like this was maybe just like a tad lower end leather than what I noticed in the prices where it was just an Eddie Bauer leather something or other. I could be completely wrong, but I picked it up because the price was fair, and there were a few AKAs that I had seen selling in the price range that I thought I could list it in, and I was, taking a little bit of a chance because I liked better what I saw from just regular Eddie Bauer leather, but this sold. I mean, I had it listed for 60. I sold it for 50. It cost me $8.99. It was not marked up, and it took 3 weeks to sell. So got 50 for it. I paid less than 10, and it sold in under a month. I mean, that checks all the boxes. So I would definitely be looking in the future for more, even if it was AKA. But I feel like good classic Eddie Bauer leather should probably sell for a higher price than that. So maybe the AKA is just a little slightly less quality. I don't really know. Let me show you some of the pictures of this as well. A good size, a size large, a nice quilted interior, and give it the smell test, because sometimes you've got cigarette smoke in some of these coats. Now, fortunately for me, that's never happened. I mean, I think I would notice it right away, especially having a young kid with, a very serious lung disease. Like, I pay attention to these things a little bit more than the average person, but check that just to make sure. And I mean, even the faintest amount of smoke smell, somebody that has a sensitive scent is going to pick up on that. So try to give it the smell test if you can. And I mean, I'm focusing on leather jackets specifically, not for any other reason other than I do it more with these types of items than I would your average polo shirt. But you don't want to be caught with something that you get burned with, for lack of a better way to put it, once you make a sale. So that was a good one. I'll take that. Next thing here, this was a Bins find. Charlie XCX, recording artist. This is a basic pullover sweater, and I think I sold this for full price. Yeah, sold this for $50. Got it at the Bins, so $1.99 a pound. Let's call it $2. And how long did it take me to sell? This took 3.5 months to sell, and I had seen in Terapeak when I was doing my research that one in a different size, the exact same color and style pullover sold for around 50. So I priced mine at 50, and there you go, sold. And this has a front and the back. Let me show you. Charlie at the top, XCX at the bottom, and then click in the front here. And it says features Kim Petras and Tommy Cash, neither of which I'm familiar with. And I'm not exactly familiar with Charlie XCX, but just doing my research, I learned who this was and what this was about. So that one sold for 50, this one sold for 50. If you see this exact one, now you have a pretty good idea how you're going to price it. So 3.5 months to sell, good sale. All right, next thing, what I try to do with these mirrors is, if they look like really old and it's a Conair brand, I just look it up naturally. This one happened to be brand new in an open box, so it was easy for me to just scan the UPC code, stick a price on it of $55, and I actually sold this once. They returned it because they just didn't like the style. And so on here I have written that it took a month to sell, but I had this, I think, for almost a year, so I had it for a little while. But it is brand new in an open box. It had never been used before, so I redid my pictures. And that's another thing too, when I get a return like that, in some cases I will redo the pictures just to sort of refresh my memory and make sure that it is in the same condition as it was when I did it the first time. And I think the pictures, like, they help me determine if it had actually been used at all when I sold it the first time. So just something that I use as just a double check feature, if you will. But I mean, getting $55 for this, and what did I say I paid? I paid $8 for it, and having it sell in 30 days after getting it back is pretty good. So keep your eye out for these like triple compartment mirrors. I just sold that big Simple Human one. I'll show you how I packed it in a future video. So I'm not afraid to pack the big ones, but this one was brand new in an open box. So throw a couple pieces of bubble wrap around it, throw it in a cardboard box, and you're done. 55 bucks on 8. I'll take that all day long. Keep your eye out for especially the older Conair 3 compartment mirrors. All right. Next thing here, boy, this was a good sale and I needed it this month too. Equiline pants. The style was Donna. They're knee grip breeches. So I had it listed for 200 and sold these for 170 really quickly. I think they sold within 5 days, and they were marked regular price. It was only $5. So does it say what the retail price was on those? I don't know. These are expensive though. So Equiline, B Move, all seasons, just a few pictures. And yeah, $170, just an unbelievable sale. So somebody got a very good deal. How long did it take me to sell these? This only took, like I said, 5 days. So yeah, that was great. Sourced them in February, sold them in February for 170 and what was otherwise a pretty slow month for me. So just being in the right place, right rack, right time. All right, next thing here. I think I paid regular price for this because the store that I found this in would normally be marking this up and putting it on the markup rack or putting it behind the counter. So Brahmin, vintage, alligator, Croc bag. It wasn't a very big bag, and the funny thing about this sale is I had a number of people like question its authenticity, not challenge me on it per se, but it's like I got just a couple of messages that the people were kind of doubting or they wanted to see more pictures because they were unsure. Well, when I sold this, I sold it for 120. It only cost me $6. The lady that purchased it left me positive feedback and said that this is a replacement for us, the same exact style that she's been using for years. So I feel like I trust her judgment in the fact that it is absolutely real. So I don't generally respond to those types of messages, and you have to run your business however you want, but we have the luxury doing this online to make assumptions about certain buyers, and if it's worth your time or if you think it might be a problem in the long run. I can't tell you how to handle each situation, but when this one came around eventually, I tend to leave those behind because I'm never 100% sure, right? So anything that is sold could be fake, right? It could be inauthentic. I'm not an authenticator. I'm not an expert. I just do my best. So I thought it was real, and the person that purchased it was insanely happy, and I trust that if they had the same one before and they're happy with this one, that this is 100% authentic. So took 8 months to sell. It's gone, $120. Next thing here, this was a bins find. I had this listed for 100, sold it for 85. Everbrand, I had never heard of it before. They are no longer in business, and it was just a nice field jacket. I'm going to show you some of the pictures because this is one that I don't think you would automatically catch. But let me see if I can get a bigger. There's a picture of the interior. Here's a picture of the tag. Everbrand, and I think they were out of Los Angeles. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, this was just a bins find that I took a chance on since I was paying by the pound. Let's call it $4. Distressed. $700 this retailed at. That's just bananas, and I bet people paid $700 at the time. So get it for $85 seems like a steal to me, especially since this is something that you can't get anywhere anymore since they're out of business. But showed a picture of the hood, and $85 when I probably only paid $40 for the entire trip that day at the bins is spectacular sale. So $85, $4, and it sold in 3 months. Next thing here, Hairspray. Amazing, right? $90. I sold this for full price. This fat hair spray sold in 1 week, and I think I was the most aggressively priced. I probably could have gone to 100, maybe 110, but another one of those. Can't find it anymore. Discontinued. They're not producing it. The dance moms need that. Who knows what it is for. But can you believe that prices people will pay for things that they can no longer get? I mean, this was what, $250 retail price. when it was in stores, and somebody paid 90 for it. It's just spectacular. It makes the job fun, because ultimately that buyer that paid 90 is extremely happy that they can get their hands on that, right? Because they can't find it anywhere else. So, you know, to me, that's like, again, I always say that I'm not my target market. Like, I can't fathom paying $90 for discontinued hairspray, but somebody else did. They're happy. I'm happy. Everybody's happy. Yeah, sold in 1 week. I think it cost me $4. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I caught this on film. I don't know. Sometimes my mind starts playing tricks on me and I can't remember what was what. But $90, great sale. Next thing here, even better sale. I caught this one on camera as well. This was like one of my thumbnails too in one of my videos. Rawlings leather laptop bag. I mean, this is just messenger bag. Amazing. Sold out on Rawlings website. I didn't even know prior to looking this up that Rawlings made bags like this. So learned a very quick lesson on the fly. Paid $6 for it. Sold it for $2.50, and it's sold in 3 weeks. Just amazing. Now, I don't know if baseball season has anything to do with it, right? Because when I think of Rawlings, I think of baseball gloves and, you know, bats, but more so the leather gloves. So did that play a hand in this, or the fact that, again, this is one of the items that is sold out, that was in very high demand when it was produced? I don't really know. I can't really tell you, but man, oh man. And I'll show you. Let's go and look at some of the pictures that I took just to help you in the event you get one and you're especially confused if you can get the top of the market pricing based on the condition you find it in. This had scrapes right all over the leather, but that can be fixed, right? You can smooth out the leather, and there's people that know how to do that. I wouldn't spend any time doing that, but you never know what buyer is buying it. So here's the condition of the back with the Rawlings logo, and I'll show you what the inside looks like here in just a second. The exterior components, the hardware, decent. The zippers all worked fine, but I mean, scrapes and scratches all over the place, and I still got $2.50 for it. So hopefully that encourages you and inspires you. If you look at the bottom of the bag, we have some ink marks on here. It was probably the exclusivity of this bag. There's a stain right there, and then a very clear picture on another overcast day of what they are going to expect to see once they get it in their hands. But I still sold it for $2.50. Ladies and gentlemen, amazing. So I mean, you get it in what you might think is suspect condition. Not at all. Buyer's happy. I'm happy as well. $2.50. What a great sale. Next thing here with P448 shoes, my experience in the maybe 3, maybe 4 pairs that I've sold is that they sell slower at the top if you're asking top of the market pricing, which is what I've done, I think, with all of the pairs of P448s that I've listed. So it takes a little bit longer. I think these took 3 months to sell, but they are, the style is John, obviously black glitter with a little bit of gold. You can look at the right toe here. It's got some markings on it. I'll take you through the rest of the pictures. We have some yellowing on the midsoles, but again, that doesn't deter a lot of people. So I sat on these for a little while, and let's get you a picture of the soles and then the tag, which is a size 10. European size 40. I had it listed for 80 and they sold for 68. They cost me $5.50. I think I caught this on camera in one of my thrift runs as well. And what did I say? 3 months? Yes. They took 3 months to sell. So I like P448. Maybe you have to be a little bit more aggressive with your pricing on this brand if you want to move them a little bit quicker. I don't, because there's not as many of them as the Adidases and the Nikes of the world. So I'm okay sitting on it for a little while to try to get a little better price. And I still think 68 is good, even though I was asking 80. Another pair of shoes here, Edmonds, should be no surprise to most people. But if you are unfamiliar, this was a really nice looking pair of McTavish Oxfords wingtip. Size 12, great. I probably should have kept these. I think they would have fit me, right? Normal width, size 12. Sometimes I need to slow down a little bit because these are really nice. Like, this is a nice pair that I think I would have worn. But anyway, we're thinking out loud here. You can see that the midsole, like you can see some scrapes, bumps, bruises. Here's a picture of the bottom of the heel. There's the soles, Edmonds, McTavish, and these still sold for 80. They sold for 80? I lied. They sold for 69. but these also cost $5.50. I think these came out on the bottom of a cart at a Goodwill. So I paid $5.50. They were not marked up. 12D, great size, and they look, yeah, they're black. Sometimes, depending on the time of day, my black looks like navy blue on my back deck when I'm shooting it, but these are black. And how long did it take me to sell them? They sold in 2 months, which is not bad. I don't pick up a ton of dress shoes, but I am picking up Cole Haan dress shoes a little bit more. Allen Edmonds in most cases is a no-brainer. Johnston and Murphy has some good styles that sell well. I really like pumped the brakes on dress shoes, but in certain obvious instances, I'm going to grab them. This is one of those obvious instances. So that was another good sale here. All right, next thing, pool cue. I let this go for a song relative to what I had it listed for. I had it listed for $350, and this 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, based on my research and based on the conversations that I've had with people trying to learn a little bit more about this style of pool cue, it would have sold for $350 if I had waited a little bit longer. It's fine. I sold it for $250. I'll take the $250. This buyer did try to extort me for more of a discount, and I said absolutely not. Send the thing back because I have somebody waiting in the wings that's ready to pay the full price. So I won't get into the details of that conversation. It was very quick. I ended it extremely quickly. But yeah, sold it for $250. It only cost me $9. That cost me $9. Yeah, $8.99. $9. And so it was not marked up. This also was one that came out on a cart. On the back of the handle, it says 507. I forgot to photograph that, but this is one of those cues that is on the heavier side. I think it was like 20, 21, 22 grams or ounces. I can't remember what measurement I was using, but got a lot of interest really quickly. So sold it for $250. Paid $9. I don't know tons about pool cues. I do sell them on occasion, but this only took 4 days to sell, and it had maybe 10, 15 watchers in that time frame. So, so yeah, $250, but it would have sold for $350 if I waited a little bit longer. Next thing here, just a pretty Coach bag, signature Ward tote, red. Maybe Valentine's month had something to do with that. I don't really know. I think somebody in my comments mentioned that might be something too, because I think this is one that I caught in my videos, and I can't remember what I paid for this one. This was, if it came out on a cart, it was regular price, $5, $6, $7. I don't think this was one of the markup ones, but it could have been 15 to 20. But I sold it for 50, and it sold in 5 weeks. So I feel like that's a very adequate time frame to sell a Coach bags. For me, like you can tell now, I'm trying to pick bags up a little bit more, trying to do more of the women's stuff, even though I obviously gravitate to all things not females, because it just for me, it's not necessarily the learning curve, it's just there's so much, and I have to cut myself off at some point. But I'm starting to enjoy picking up bags a little bit more in general, and just in learning about them. And it seems like my area is producing them, so I'll take it. $50 cost me around $7 and sold in 5 weeks. This was a nice bag. 33960 is the style number on that one. Next thing here, vintage Sunbeam waffle maker. I can't remember what I paid. I paid $10 for this. I wrote 10 down, but this was in one of my videos as well. This thing sold very quickly, and I want to show you that other than a very basic wipe down, it's almost in the condition I sourced it in. I did try to go in with some cleaner and clean it out a little bit, but this sold in 1 day. And I got an education from the buyer who buys these frequently. And so if you ever see this exact model, CG-1, I sold it for $51, by the way. Had it listed for $60, sold it for $51. But if you look, these black handles, according to the buyer, are very brittle. So if you find this exact model and you're packing it, pack it with extreme care. So I tripled up on the bubble wrap, made sure the box that I was using was not heavy duty, but it was like firm, and there was no shifting in the box with the item once I had it taped up. So it got to them. They left positive feedback, so I know nothing was broken, but they were like, we buy a bunch of these and you have to be really careful with the handles. So just keep that in mind if you find this exact model, or just apply that to anyone that you see that's like a vintage waffle maker, because they're probably all from that era using, similar plastics and whatnot. So just pack those things that are vintage with care. Do it with your toasters, do it with your waffle makers, and you might even have to do it even more with stuff that's made, in the 2000s and beyond, because I feel like this is such a better quality waffle iron than the stuff that comes out today with with very few exceptions, because this thing was like 9-10 pounds. I mean, it was meaty. So keep that in mind, just something that you might not have known about that specific model. That was a great sale, sold it in one day. And then this last thing here also caught on video, and I got very, I don't want to say lucky, because I think I paid $20 to $30 for this, and I sold it for $330. I had it listed for $400, sold it for $330. But the box that I put it in was like 35 by 35, and this was 34 by 34. So after bubble wrapping the entire piece, it fit like a glove inside one box. I didn't have to do anything else. I know it arrived safely, and it was sort of a miracle. I can't remember. I think I bought the box at Lowe's. I can't remember. I had a box, and I had to do little work to get this thing. At the time, I'm thinking to myself, like, how am I gonna ship this? Like, I have a good problem on my hands, but this thing is so big and awkward, and I'm not used to seeing boxes in that size. But I found one, fit like a glove, shipped it off to the buyer. They were extremely happy. This took 6 months to sell, but it did sell, and $330 on 20 to 30 is just amazing. So there's 20 items that I sold in February, and I hope you enjoyed that. All right, fun bunch, that's all I've got for you. Stay tuned this week. We have a lot of sourcing to do. So we're going to the stores, we're going to the bins, everything else in between. That is all I have for you today. Be ready for it. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.